I know that what you went through is a lot more serious than a burnout. But am I right to say that when we have many or a series of burnouts, it can lead to something more serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, the Lyme disease that you I think what I would like you to address first is that how can we prevent, in your point of view, because you just said that it started from the beginning, right on the earlier onset, and then it becomes a build up, and then because you did not take the necessary measures to track back, right, you didn't stop yourself, and you went on and on and on, and then leading you to these complications. Yeah. So what would be some of the signs that we should already start paying attention to? Because what I'm gathering is that it's a build up. What struck me was when you said about the memory, because there is this thing about, for us, we say, I'm getting old, I'm forgetting. Oh, I'm getting old, but I've also heard another coach who says that if you keep telling yourself that you're getting old, and you're giving yourself a permission. Think about teenagers. Teenagers are also forgetful, right? How many times do we have to remind teenagers? So are we trying to say, oh, it's their age? We don't, right? So it may or may not be to do with the age. So you mentioned memory, but I'm just very interested to know from you, like, what are the signs actually that we should already start paying attention to?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I think the thing is to focus on is also not about labels of disease and how to manage disease or prevent disease.
Yeah.
It's about how do you get in optimal health, right? And then how do you define optimal health and what is not optimal health? So the first thing is that in our society, like being tired, stressed all the time, like busy all the time, overworked, and then tired. When you wake up in the morning, if you do not feel refreshed, but you feel tired, that's already a sign. I mean, if it's one time, okay, right? If you go, but if it's all the time, then that's already a sign your body is not in optimal health. And the thing is that in our society, it has become like normal. So people think, oh, it's normal to have pains. It's normal to be tired. It's normal to have some memory forgetfulness. The thing is, it may be normal, but it's not natural. Right? It's the body
it may seem normal, but not natural.
Yeah. So it's the body, especially as young age, it's designed in principle to be in optimal performance. And what we're doing to ourselves as a society is kind of breaking down the foundations. So I sometimes use the analogy of like our life is like a tower, and we're trying to build on top a new layer, a new floor, right? You're just in the career or in whatever you want, but we forget about the foundation that needs maintenance as well, and so it starts to break down, and at some point when it's totally worn down, the tower collapses. And that's basically what happened with me, that I did not pay attention to all the signs that with the small sign. Well, actually, I did pay to some extent attention because I went to the doctors, right? But the doctors had no clue either. And that's what I learned later on also, that every chronic disease is a combination of multiple factors.
Yeah.
Well, doctors and a lot of scientists still there's this reductionistic approach. There has to be one cause, one disease. Unfortunately, that's not true. And there's a lot of other science in that direction. So it's more the holistic approach. And I would say, like, the high performers under the medical doctors, these are like functional medicine, they are taking a different approach. They're conventionally trained doctors, but often they went through the same problems that they are also high performers, so pushing themselves, right? A lot of doctors, they work overnight, and their bodies are crashing as well as the mental function, which is danger because you start to make more mistakes. And then, so a lot of these doctors, functional medicine doctors, they crashed. Then they couldn't help themselves. Their friends, doctors, couldn't help themselves. So they started to dig deeper, and also into combining them with science discoveries, because often science is like 15, 20 years ahead on society. There is this gap, and they try to close the gap. And so they started to understand, okay, there's much more multiple factors. So what are the root causes? And instead of treating symptoms, start to treat the root causes. And the root causes have so many different factors that one cause can cause like 10 different diseases, and the same disease can be caused by 10 different factors.
I just want to just little interject a little bit, because you said a very important point there, that chronic diseases is actually due to a series, or it could be an accumulation of various different symptoms. Unfortunately, when we go to the doctor tend to just attend to one symptom, and which is why sometimes when you go to the doctor and then you go to one and they fix one thing and then the other thing is not fixed. So I have this well, I speak about my mother-in-law a lot. So my mother-in-law, she will have back pains and high blood pressure, and she also has water retention. But when the main thing that the doctor will give her for certain things, but then on the overall, she's still not well. So she has the medication for high blood and thinning of the blood, so for the heart. But as overall, she still feels like crap. So that's when she's like, that's her way of alerting us that I'm eating all this medicine, it's not making me well. So so I like what you said. I think there's it makes a lot of sense. So how is this related to so for high performance? Because you've already mentioned a few things, right? One is being too tired all the time in a long period of time. Okay, and like what you say, it becomes like the new normal, that it's normal for us to feel very tired all the time, and we accept it. And especially now during COVID, we are very much sedentary, a lot more sedentary than before, and that's when people are having a lot of Zooms, and people have a lot more pains, a lot of back pains, a lot of knee pains, headaches, because we are very much confined. So you said a few things. One is being tired for a long period of time, and very often in the morning you don't feel fresh. So that should be a sign, people. It's not like it's not normal for you to be snoozing like maybe 5 times and wake up and still tired. It's not normal. Number 2, you talk about the memory, right? That it's you are actually affected, and I think there was a third one, Rolf.
Well, feeling stressed all the time, so overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, and then it's like you then also feel you don't have enough time and energy, so you're pushing yourself either more to catch up, right? So you're only going further down the hill.
How many of us who's raising hands here? Can I? I will not be able to see you, but how many of you is like tired all the time for a long period of time, do not feel refreshed early in the morning, feeling stressed and overwhelmed a lot, and then memory loss.